Today I'm going to be reviewing Witch by Eva Ibbotson. This is a reread. I remember reading this in middle school and I was really excited to reread it again after all these years. This story is about Airman the Awful, who is this dark warlock, and his job is basically to keep darkness and sorcery alive in the land, and he has been doing this for many years. But he's kind of getting tired of it. He wants to do other things too, like maybe write a book or something. So his manservant named Lester, who is an ogre who used to work in the circus as a sword swallower, he had the idea of going to the circus and talking to a gypsy. So they go to the circus and they talk to her, and she says, "Don't worry, Armin, soon there will come a wizard who is even more powerful than you." And obviously Armin is very happy with this news, so he goes and creates this creature named the Wizard Watcher, who has 3 heads, and each day they wait by the gate and they all look at a different direction. But 2 years pass and still no sighting of the wizard who will take over for Armin, and obviously Armin is kind of getting a bit impatient. But one night something pushes him over the edge. Lester was giving him a haircut and he was like, "Wait, is this a gray hair?" And at that point, I feel like Airman really grasped that he wasn't getting any younger. Time was passing and he can't be this dark warlock forever. He can't keep bringing sorcery and darkness to the land. So his secretary, Mr. Ledbetter, he proposed that maybe he get married and have a child, so then the child could take over for Armin. And Armin is not a fan of marriage at all. His best friend is a ghost named Sir Simon, who killed 7 of his wives centuries ago. And when Armin thinks of a witch, he thinks of warts and the whiskers, and he's just not looking forward to getting married. But eventually he caves in and he's like, "Fine, let's do this." And his secretary, Mr. Ledbetter, he likes to watch Miss World, Miss Universe types of competitions, so he decides, like, why don't we do a competition to see which witch of Todcaster can perform the darkest magic, and whoever does gets to be Armin's wife. And Armin begrudgingly agrees to this. So now let's get into the contestants of Which Witch. This is Nora and Nancy Schauder. They are twins, and as you can see, both of their familiars are chickens. They work at Todcaster Central Station, and they are always bickering and arguing. They can't agree with each other on anything, and they really dislike everything. This is Madame Olympia. She is an enchantress, and coincidentally she just moved into Todcaster just as the competition was about to begin. She's actually from London, where she owns this beauty salon, and she has these creams and stuff where she puts a little bit of magic in it, so when you put it on, you are the prettiest you've ever been, but it wears off quickly and it makes you a tiny bit uglier than you were, so you have to keep coming back. And I think that's a really wicked business plan, but I guess that's the kind of businesswoman she is. And she is a 5-time widower, and her familiar is an artwork. This is Mother Bloodwort. She was a formidable witch back in the day, but her memory isn't what it used to be. She sometimes likes to turn herself into a coffee table, but she sometimes forgets the spell to turn herself back into a human. So if you ever see a coffee table waddling along, you know it's Mother Bloodwort forgetting the spell again. And her familiar is actually a swarm of flies, and she keeps them in a tin, and when they're in the tin, they turn back into maggots. So that is Mother Bloodwort's familiars. Now this is Belladonna. She is actually a white witch, so she doesn't have a familiar, and she can heal and talk to animals and charm flowers, but she can't do any sort of dark magic. She can't turn something into spiders or turn something else into a snake. She can't perform any kind of dark magic. So she is very much the underdog, but when she sees Airman for the first time, she kind of falls in love with him and she can't help it. She cares for him, and even if she doesn't win the contest, which, let's face it, being a white witch, it's going to be pretty difficult, she hopes that he is happy. This is Mabel Rack. She is a sea witch. Her mother actually used to be a mermaid. She now owns a fish shop, and her familiar is an octopus named Doris, who she carries around in a bucket. You can see here that she has really frizzy hair and she has very scaly, dry legs because her mother used to be a mermaid, so she has to constantly keep moisturizing it. And finally, this is Ethel Feedback. She is a country witch. She works at an egg packaging plant, and her familiar is a pig. So those are all the contestants on Which Witch. Who do you think will win? I still remember who won from middle school, but honestly, I didn't remember every detail, so it was kind of like reading a new book again that I just knew the ending of. And what struck me was that it was a bit darker than I remembered. I feel like I mostly focus on the romance sort of part of the book, and I was just like, okay, Sir Simon murdered 7 of his wives, all these dark spells, because the dark spells they perform are actually pretty dark, which makes sense since they all want to win the competition. And it's been a while since I've had a book that has like illustrations, so I thought that was really fun. This book has a lot of fun and quirky characters with a bit of whimsy and its funny parts, and it was really fun to reread it again. The writing style had humor and whimsy, and it was entertaining, so if you're looking for that kind of book, I recommend it. But I do have to mention again that it does have its dark moments, like Sir Simon talking about how he murdered his 7 wives, and at some point they mention a fountain of blood and other things like that. Yeah, it's not Stephen King, but it's also not for very little kids, so I recommend reading it or just looking it over if you're planning to give it or read it to someone who is younger. I feel like I'd have to give this book 4 stars out of 5, but I'll be honest with you, that 1 star. Thanks for watching my Which Witch book review. I hope you like it. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. Bye!